My pervy pastor got a girl pregnant and used church money for a termination, so I told the whole church. Pastor of my church is kind of weird to say the least. He has been the only negative aspect in my experience in this church. The rest of it is warm and welcoming, and the other people high up in the church are actually respectful of other people's beliefs and do not advocate for commonly associated church things, such as homophobia. But my pastor is as straight out of the stereotypical pastor textbook as you can envision. The man is old and bald, condemning anything and anyone who does not follow his teachings. He has a tendency to take teachings from the Bible and run with them the way they are said, without ever doing any deeper analysis of the meanings. To him, gay people are evil and are abominations who need to be converted. Women are the underlings of men who are made for the sole purpose of serving their husbands. A child is malleable and is supposed to be skewed in the way of faith every single time. All that kind of stuff. He is also rather touchy and feely with the altar boys, or so I have heard. It's a small rumor which is sometimes mentioned in the church, but considering nothing at all has been done and the altar boys seem mostly comfortable around him. Nobody was too worried and therefore did not do anything about it. I never really liked him much, but he was the pastor and I tolerated him, I suppose. I never had it out for him. That was until my 16-year-old sister came home knocked up and pregnant with his rope baby. For context, my parents both died 2 years ago in a horrific car crash. I was already an adult at the time with my own place and so I took my sister in. My parents were never religious, however my sister and I found some sort of solace through faith and that's why we attended this church. So, my sister only ended up telling me around 10 weeks after she was initially roped. I remember the day very vividly. She and I were eating dinner when she randomly broke down. I asked her what was wrong and went over to hug her, but she pushed me off and told me to give her a minute. After taking a minute, she finally spoke up and told me what had happened. She started off by saying that 10 weeks ago, she and the pastor were the only people in the church. She sometimes helps the pastor out after mass whenever he needs help doing something, whether moving something in his office or whatever. At first I was very suspicious when she started doing this, but over time, she assured me that he has never been inappropriate once, treated her nicely, and sometimes even gave her pocket money for helping him out. Due to this, over time I started trusting her. It was a very stupid decision in hindsight to do so, I know this. But at the time I was not really able to imagine that something could go seriously wrong. And something went wrong. My sister went on to say that when she was in the back she was turned away from him, when he pressed up on her. She said that she felt his stiffy press against her, and then he told her to keep quiet and take it. She tried to fight originally but he was much stronger than she was, and she ended up getting roped. She said that she did not tell me originally because it was so traumatizing for her that she could not even bring herself to speak about it. Then, at the 4-week mark she started experiencing pregnancy symptoms. She got a test done and it showed positive. She took another test and it showed positive. She said she went through 10 tests because she kept hoping that it was a false positive time and time again, but it never was. Then, without speaking to me about it, she went to the pastor and informed him of the pregnancy. I was kind of mad at her for this, for going to him without speaking to me about it, but I let her talk. She went on to say that the pastor freaked out when she told him that she was pregnant, and he called her a liar. Luckily, she had brought a pregnancy test and took it in the toilet with him standing outside. When she proved it to him, she said that he stood still for a minute, then this a-hole had the audacity to try to hug her and comfort her. She pushed him off, of course. He then proceeded to have a conversation with her, where he basically told her that she either gets a termination which he will help her get with the church money, or she can give birth but he will never be part of this child's life. And if she tries to tell anyone how the baby was actually conceived, he will spread nasty rumors about her in the church which will completely ruin her reputation. So she agreed. She went to get a termination the very next week, and the pastor took money out of the church fund to do so. Then my sister dropped another bombshell onto me. She asked me about the charity that the church is currently collecting money for. Well, in reality, the pastor is using this as a way to replace all of the money that the procedure cost. I gave money to this charity last week. It was marketed as a homeless dogs charity. I saw red after the whole story was done, but instead of doing anything immediately I comforted my sister. I spent the whole day comforting her and letting my sister know that what happened was not her fault. Hearing her blame herself for what happened broke my heart, and deep down I greatly blamed myself for this entire situation for not prohibiting her from helping this filthy excuse for a pastor. So the next day, while my sister was at school I started hatching a plan. The plan I actually came up with was a kamikaze-esque plan. I'm no genius mastermind, and I wanted the whole church to know what he did. So I thought about what that needs to happen for everyone to know what he did. And obviously, people need to be told what happened. So I came up with the world's most simple and basic plan, and likely idiotic plan. The next Sunday my sister stayed home, as she said that coming to church every week for traumatizing. So I went to the church, and of course that the collection bucket for the charity was there. About halfway through the mass, the bucket started being passed around as the pastor was telling us all to donate generously. When the bucket got to me, I stopped for a second, and proceeded to take a wireless microphone out of my pocket and spoke up. Dear members of the church, those giving your money to this charity, I feel like you deserve to know what you are giving your money to. Our dear pastor, the one standing right there. Well, he roped a young girl and impregnated her. He then forced her to terminate the pregnancy and threatened her if she ever tells anyone what really happened. Well, he didn't threaten me, so I'm here to tell you what happened. And you know what money he used for this termination of the baby? The church's money. And this charity is just an excuse to replace the money that he spent. Tell us what this church is, Mr. Pastor. The pastor tried to interrupt me, but I yelled over him. The whole church kind of gasped, and started questioning the pastor. The pastor didn't even address the rumors. He just left the church and discontinued the entire mass. This happened yesterday and I have been getting relentless DMs from members of the church, most of them supporting me, but a few have told me I had no business airing the church's laundry. I told my sister what I did, and I assured her that I never name dropped her nor did I mention her name. He told me she appreciated what I did. I don't know what's going to happen to the church now, but I'm sure I won't be seeing that pastor there anymore.